you tell me what is teaching or what is the meaning of education?
Ma'am, teaching means we are giving information or teaching to someone, giving information to someone or giving information to our students.
Yeah, that is technical way or in a proper way we can say transforming. It's like transferring the information to the students or the learners.
Transferring the knowledge.
Yeah, transferring the knowledge or information
Information, yes.
to the learners is teaching. And what is education? Because if we are talking about a teaching aptitude or it's about teaching, then obviously the first thing come in our mind, that is the what the teaching and learning is related to, that is education. What is education?
Education means to eradicate the illiterature of a person.
Education is, please tell me again.
Eradicate the illiterature of a person.
Okay, yeah, any.
Then education means we are showing a right path to lead a good life.
Yes, that is right, because teaching, learning, education are closely related. So we know education is not basically to get knowledge, but it's like rectifying or improving the way of living, improving your behavior, improving your interacting with the other human, the way you interact with other human. It's like the improving in improvement in that is your shows your education, right? There are two terms in this aptitude thing, in the teaching aptitude there are two terms which are more important. First is education and second is literacy. So what are the difference between the two terms? What is education and what is literacy? How it is different?
Literacy is about yeah, people can write his name or signature is called
Hmm.
literacy, but education is different from literacy. Education is make a man complete knowledge or something else regarding the education.
Yes, true. Literacy is about our capability of reading and writing, about one's capability of knowledge of language, knowledge of a subject particular, that shows a literacy. But education is basically an overall development of a person, in which literacy, along with the social behavior included, right? Whom you will call a educated person, who knows how to behave socially in a good manner, who can talk properly, who is not fighting randomly with the trivial issues. Ashraf, please mute your mic. Okay, so these things are, that part is called education. And literacy means your knowledge. Literacy means ki how much you are aware about a particular subject, or you know reading and writing, that is called literacy. Okay, so write down the definition of education, or write down first of all a difference between education and literacy. Education is not only about knowledge of fact, is not about knowledge of fact and awareness of past and present. Write down, education is not only about knowing the facts, knowing the facts
And awareness of
knowing the facts and awareness of past and present, but future. Education teaches, full stop. Write down, education teaches how to learn things and gives an ideology or ideology to develop and thinking power. It teaches how to learn things and gives an ideology to develop and thinking power. So in many books of paper one, I think almost all of you must have the books of paper one along with you. Some of you have Arihant or Pearson or something. Some books will be
KVS Madan, ma'am.
Madan, or some books were there. So in all the books, you will get to know, or you can see various definitions of the various thinkers about education. Like Swami Vivekanand has called it a manifestation of a perfect state of mind. Aristotle also called it that a creation of sound mind in a sound body. Okay. A very simple fact is behind the education, that if you are perfect with the body, your mind will work perfectly. If definitely you will have some or other kind of problem physically, then definitely you won't be able to get education, you won't be able to learn properly. Like for an example, if you have a headache and right now I'm taking a class, will you be able to concentrate what I'm saying? Will you be able to concentrate what I want to teach you?
No, ma'am.
Right, simple. You are not physically deformed, but if you have a simple headache, then you won't be able to manifest or you won't be able to accept what I'm teaching here, right? So, and if you are sitting, you all are sitting in a perfect state of mind because you doesn't have any kind of body pain, you doesn't have any kind of other problem, then definitely you will be able to receive all the information in a perfect way, completely, thoroughly,
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that is what Aristotle has said, that it is a creation of a perfect mind in a perfect body. Education can be achieved in a perfect state of mind. Perfect state of mind when your body is also allowing you to receive the information, right? If you are tired, then also you will not be able to receive the information completely, right? Similarly, there are various examples along with that. So if you, any of you must have done B.Ed, or maybe a majority of you must have done B.Ed. So in the Bachelor of Education, you had these definition of astrology and Piaget and Vivekanand, Gandhi, Nehru. These all the people have given the definitions of education, and that is what the actual definition of education, that says that teaching is basically a interaction of both teacher and student. So what teacher gives is a information, what the student achieves is a again an information, but how it has been culminating between the two is an education. Because how a teacher teaches, he shows his part of education, and what a student receives is an education to him, right? Because he only doesn't get information or the fact, but he takes the attitude, aptitude of the teacher as well. Okay, when you were a small kid, you were in your primaries or the upper primaries, like between 6 to 8, you used to observe your teachers thoroughly. करते थे ना? How the teacher is teaching, how the male teacher and the female teachers, what they are wearing, how they are acting, how what is the method of teaching. So sometimes you used to imitate also, right? You do imitations.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
it's not only about taking the information, but we used to imitate our teacher because they become the ideal to us, right? They become an ideal to us. How they become the ideal to us? How a teacher become an ideal to us? Because education is a two-way process, right? Education is a two-way process. It is an interaction between a teacher as well as a student. It's an interaction between the two, right? Now, let's move on to the another part, because after this teaching or education, this literacy and education, write down a few characteristics of teaching. How a teacher teaching can be perceived. Characteristics of teaching. First, it is best in a direct. Just write down. Teaching is a face to face. Teaching is a face to face interaction between the teacher and the learner. Between the teacher and the learner. Full stop. Second, it's a direct and formal interaction. It's a direct and formal interaction. It's a direct and formal interaction. Third, the ideas and information passes from one biological responsive organism to another. Now, the newer points which has added to teaching aptitude is it can happen personal or impersonal way. It can happen personal or impersonal way. That is offline and online modes of education. Okay, it can happen personal and impersonal way. Next, a student is a body. A student is a body who participates in the process to learn, who participates in the process to learn, who participates in this process,
Ma'am, student is the body, then
who participates in the process to learn and achieve his aims. To learn and achieve his aims, full stop. A teacher is someone, nahi, isi mein, in the same point itself.
ma'am, next point, na?
A teacher is someone, full stop. A teacher is someone
Okay, ma'am.
who is there to help the students, who is there to help the students to gain knowledge and achieve their aim. Next point, this is very important because this definition used to come in your exam many times. Write down. Teaching is learning oriented. Okay, in the process of like teaching, so teaching should always be learning oriented. One who is teaching should have a aptitude of learning always. Okay, teaching is learning oriented, and learning is modification of behavior, and learning is modification of behavior. Last point, the ultimate aim of teaching learning process, the ultimate aim of teaching learning process is to make the child acquire the desired knowledge and skills along with the desired ways of living in the society. Now if you are in this process of teaching and learning, that is education, or because we are reading teaching aptitude, so if you are in the process of teaching and learning, what are the essential things which a teacher needs?
Plan.
Plan.
Teacher should be master in the subject, ma'am.
He should be master in the subject, and
He should be sympathetic.
hmm, yes, and
Not command or the language
uh these are like
proficiency.
quality of teachers, right? So write down, for the process of teaching, a teacher needs two basic things. First of all, a teacher needs two basic things. क्या है? First is a, the complete knowledge of the subject matter. First, he should be the master of the subject, or he should have a complete knowledge of the subject matter, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Second, second is the scientific method of.
Ma'am, this is the process of teaching, right?
No, two basic things which a teacher needs. A scientific methods of the scientific methods of. ठीक है, these are the two things which a teacher required. First क्या चाहिए? He should be filled with all the scientific methods, like Lokesh has said, lesson plan or teaching styles. He should know all the usage of the styles and workshop and everything. So these are the scientific methods of teaching. And first thing which he require basically, that is a complete knowledge, right? So this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
the basic requirement of a teacher. He is sympathetic, or he should have a good behavior. He should be like all the teaching aids. That is the scientific method. So he should be sympathetic. He should have a good behavior. He should not be so strict strict with the teachers and all. All these things are secondary things, but the primary need are the two basic things. That is complete knowledge, and he should know all the methods of teaching. And in all the methods, this also comes as he should be sympathetic and all. He should be empathetic. He should be sympathetic. He should not believe in punishments, right? Reinforcements and all. So these are all scientific methods itself. These are all scientific methods of teaching. Now, uh, now write down nature and flow of teaching. Now next is nature and flow of teaching. Nature and flow of teaching. First should be simple to complex. First is simple to complex. What should be there in that? Can anyone explain how it should be simple to complex?
First of all, we have to explain in a simple way.
Hmm.
then we have to give more information about the content.
Hmm. First of all, one should give only the basic information of the content, that what we are going to teach. Like I have started. So I started with the basic knowledge of what is teaching, what is education, what is literacy. So that is I picked up the simple things which should be in the knowledge of all the students who are taking classes here. And then I started, then I'm going toward the complex things, right? So this is the way. When you will start teaching, what you will do if you are taking literature, what you will do, you will start first of all the easier works of a writer, and then you will move toward the complex one. Why? If what happens if you will take the complex works in the beginning?
They won't understand, they won't get any interest in that, ma'am.
The students won't get it interesting, the student won't find it interesting, the students won't understand it, the students would not take interest in your classes, right? It will become difficult for them to understand, so that can confuse them. So this is basically the first method which this process of teaching and learning, or I should say the nature of teaching requires simple to complex. Second is known to unknown. Second nature and flow of teaching is known to unknown. First of all, you should talk about the known things, and then slowly drag the students toward the unknown things, right? That is like very much like simple to complex. So first you should talk about the known things. If you are talking about the solar system, then you should talk about the earth first besides the sun, and then talk about the different planets and the satellites and the spatial body, so that is, students can understand it faster, right? Third, seen to unseen. Third point is seen to unseen. Like first you should talk about the things which is very commonly available in the nature, students can interact with it, students must have seen to it. So first nature or a flow of teaching, that is another nature and flow of teaching should be seen to unseen. The student sorry the teacher should talk about the easily available thing in nature. He should talk about the known things which is being seen by the students, and then should talk about the things which they must not have seen. Okay. Then concrete to abstract. Concrete to abstract. What is the meaning of concrete here? What is the meaning of concrete?
Which can be touched or seen, ma'am.
Aha, you can say that. That is physical models. ठीक है. Concrete is like physical models. You should make some concrete raw idea of something by presenting a physical model, by presenting them something to see or observe or can feel directly physically. And to the abstract is the idea which can be created with some kind of innovations that is more imaginary in form. Okay, you can see that this is the model of earth. You can put yes, we can touch. You can put a model of earth, that is globe, in front of the student and can see this is our earth. And in the same way all the planets are in the same form, they are round. Okay, so this is how concrete to abstract. I am taking very simple and basic examples for all of you. Okay, got it? Any confusion regarding
Ma'am,
concrete?
fourth one, please
Concrete to
explain fourth
abstract. Concrete,
one again. Concrete and abstract.
sure.
Concrete to abstract.
Abstract. Abstract ideas mean something which is impossible to show as it is. You need some innovative ideas to form the abstract ideas. Concrete is something which can be possible to touch or feel physically. So if you want to give some idea to the students, like I have taken the example of solar system. So if you want to teach the students about solar system, you can show them the earth, globe. That is a concrete idea. You can give them the idea. Yes, you can show them a globe and can see that this is the earth and all the heavenly bodies are in the same form, like all the planets, all the sun, moon, satellites, whichever you are seeing or whatever you are going to read with us are in the same form, that is round in form. So that is, you are dragging their in ideas or imagination toward the abstract one. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Now next is particular to general. Particular to general, like you are talking about a particular species. We are talking about, we are giving them the idea of Indian Constitution. And then when we talk about Indian Constitution, we are talking about the rights of human being. We are talking about the duties of human being. We are talking about the different acts and laws. And then we are, that is particular. We are talking in the sense of, we are talking basically in the reference of a particular country, that is India. Okay. Then if I say the same rights are there in America, in other countries, these rights are here, everyone is using these rights, these are now given by UN. So I'm talking about the particular rights which are there in our constitution, and then I'm generalizing it with the UNO and the other countries associated with it. So that is taking the idea from particular to general. Okay, like one more example. I talked to you, or I'm teaching you sonnet. Okay, now you, because all of the students are here of English literature, you can understand it very well. That if I'm talking about sonnet, I will tell you that what sonnet is, who has invented it, who is the first person to use it, who is the first person to bring it to England. That is particular. I talked about a particular form and a particular person. Till then,
Yes, ma'am.
only Shweta is understanding, or all of you are also attentive?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. And then if I say ki now how many of the writer till date have written sonnets, so that is, I'm taking this form from particular to general.
General.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, another part is very opposite to it. That is whole to part. That is whole to part. Now, what I'm saying, what I started talking about poetry. That is a whole genre. Okay, how many genres or forms of literature are here? If I say ki how many, if we are going to read forms of literature. So forms of literature is a compilation of all the forms.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a whole idea, right? That is a whole idea. And then what I'm doing, I'm telling you about the three forms of literature. Then first part is poetry. Then I told you about the 10 sub parts of poetry, or the 10 types of poetry. In 10 parts, I am dragging you, or I'm taking you toward the first part, that is, if I say tragedy, tragic poetry. So that is, I'm taking you from whole to part.
Part. Mm.
Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now next is indefinite to definite. Indefinite to definite. What is the meaning of indefinite to definite? That is about
Ma'am,
uncertain.
indefinite means unparticular to particular.
Yes, unparticular to particular. That is opposite, completely opposite to the fifth point. Okay, that is general to particular. Okay, general to particular. Like I said, we will today we will read about British literature. Okay, today we will read about British literature, and I started giving you the history of Britain, that how it get evolved, how it was discovered, what was the first civilization there, what was the first kingdom there, who colonized England, what was the history of England. That is what indefinite, uncertain ideas, because I am giving you a random data besides giving to you in a sequence. Why? Because it was not much in the connection which we are going to read. What we are going to read is literature. right? What we have to read is British literature. But before starting the literature, I started giving you the history part of it, that is indefinite. And when I started giving you the accounts and the writers about the manuscript, about all, so I'm traveling from indefinite to definite. Got it? Not understanding.
Yes, ma'am. In ma'am, understood.
Understood? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Next is psychological to logical. Psychological to logical. Now, what is basically psychological? When a students are admitted to class, like when during my first classes, what I used to do, I used to deal with you psychologically. How far a student is taking it, how far a student is understanding my classes, how you are getting the point, what are the troubles you are facing. So this is how I'm dealing with the psychological part of you. A teacher used to connect. A teacher takes time, or a teacher, it is a very important part for a teacher to connect with the students psychologically, to make them understand the like parts, to make them understand the learning logically. Okay, to teach them logically, it is very important to connect with them psychologically. If I have to start a class of your course UGC, then what will I do is start which is known to you. Known to unknown chal rahe na hum log, right? We are traveling
Yes,
from
ma'am.
known to unknown. So what I have to do, why I'm taking the scene or known or simple point, to connect with you psychologically, and then I'll drag you to logical learning. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
I have to make the curriculum according to the psychology of a student, so that they will feel comfortable with. Okay, that is psychological to logical. Then your next point is very important, that is empirical to rational. Empirical to rational. This is very important because all both the points look similar. Empirical is a practical study, and rational is an ideological study. Rational is something with the reason, with the sharp mind, but empirical, which you used to do physically by yourself, which you experience practically. Okay, so whatever you are learning, what I used to ask in the class, if I used to take your class, if I used to teach you some points, I always at the end of the class I used to say, "Ki do read all these things by yourself too." I ask you na, you do read the details of
Yes,
these
ma'am.
points by yourself. Why? Because I want to put your labor into empirical studies. Ki go and read them practically by yourself on the different sources, whatever you are using, either by book or by ebooks or somewhere else, or the study material. So whatever you have, you can read all these things from your own sources to put yourself into a physical, practical thing to gain knowledge. That is called empirical. If you are teaching a child that how a tree grows, then you have to ask them to grow a tree on their self, so that they will get to know ki yes, they choose a they take a seed, how they planted it, how the first leaf came out of the soil, and how it is growing. So that is the empirical study, right? That is empirical study.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We are
And
doing practical thing.
yes, that is practical study. But if whenever in the life, if the same thing will come, they will understand it rationally. Okay, because they have done it
Ma'am, I
practically.
didn't understand rationally means what?
Rational means putting your intellect, using your intelligence and intellect, right? If you are talking about growing of a tree, okay, I have taken the example of growing of a tree. If you have been asked to, yes, if you have been asked to put your labor to understand a concept, you put it, you took the seed and you plant a tree, it comes up, and you get to know that how a tree grows. But now I'm talking about a creeper, now I'm talking about a sea plants or other things. Then rationally, you know now how plant look like and how they grow.
Yes, ma'am.
That is what.
Means when we are doing practical things, that time we should use our intelligence.
Yes. Okay. Like for example, if you are teaching a life process to a child and you have seen the different photographs of embryo, that this is the first month photo of embryo, or the fetus, if this is the second month, third month, of a fish, of a lizard, of a frog, of a human being. You have shown various photographs of embryo or a fetus to a child, and he will understand itself now. Rationally, he can understand now what how a child develops itself into an egg also. He can
Yes,
understand
ma'am.
now. So
Yes.
that is empirical to rational.
Okay, ma'am.
And the last point, the 10th point is analysis to synthesis. Analysis to synthesis. Last is analysis to synthesis. First is you are going to analyze a situation and come on a result. That is what you used to do. How you used to analyze a problem. Yes.
In various ways, ma'am.
Like how you used to analyze. You used to analyze a problem from various angles. You used to
Yes,
make
ma'am.
a part of a problem that how it comes. It must be happen. That thing can be happen. So you make a different part of a problem, and after dividing a problem into various factions or a various parts, then you used to analyze it. Or there is some other method of analyzing. Is there any other method of analyzing? Fast, guys.
Sorry, ma'am, I didn't understand.
I'm saying besides.
Ma'am, may I tell, ma'am?
Yes, yes, sure.
Ma'am, whenever we explain the chapter, after it we want to how the student understand and want to solve their problems. We will conduct the means objective type questionnaire and ask the questions after completion of the chapter. Then we will find out how and where and which type of problems the students are facing.
Hmm.
Am I right, ma'am?
Yes, yes. See, analysis is while reading the chapter, you used to divide the complete chapter in various sentences. How you
Yes,
used
ma'am.
to make the student understand the chapter? By reading line or passages, and you used to deliver the meaning of the passages to the students, or you ask them to find out the meaning. So, how you will ask the students to find out the meaning? What you will say? Read one sentence, tell me the meaning of it. Read the second sentence and tell me the meaning of it. So what they did,
Yes, ma'am.
they used to analyze the meaning by dividing the passage or the chapter into lines, into sentences, and then they analyze the meaning, right? But what
Yes, ma'am.
example you have taken, Satish, is of a chapter, right? But when we used to give the question answers to the student, which is back of the chapter, which is at the end of the chapter, that is synthesis.
Yes, ma'am.
Because when we used to teach them a complete chapter and we used to ask what is the characteristic of the particular character, that answer is synthesis of the chapter.
Okay, ma'am.
Right? That is synthesis, what they get from the analysis. That is synthesis. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Got it, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is your all the basics about education and teaching. How teaching goes, what are the nature of teaching, what are the flaws of teaching, how teaching flows basically. Now, tomorrow I'll give you the objectives and aims of teaching along with its various parts like approaches. Okay, note down what we will do in tomorrow's class. Tomorrow we'll do
Objectives and aims, ma'am.
aims, yes, aims and objectives and approaches of education and teaching. Okay, okay. So tomorrow I'll do that, and then in the third class I'll take the different modes of education.